So you may have remembered that in my Sonic 3 review, I mentioned that Sonic 3 was meant to be the biggest Sonic game of all time. So why did it end up having less zones than Sonic 2? Well, Sonic & Knuckles is the answer to that. Sonic & Knuckles is basically the second half of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So since it's the second half, this is basically the second half of my Sonic 3 review. So I'm just going to continue where I left off. As the title would have you believe, you can play as Sonic or Knuckles, but I'll get into Knuckles later. So the first zone, or technically the 7th zone, is Mushroom Hill Zone. It's a pretty great starting zone. The music is also great, and I like how the colors of the leaves changes throughout the zone. Next is Flying Battery Zone, which is amazing. It can be a little hard at times, but overall it's very fast-paced, and the music complements the zone very well. It really pumps you up as you're playing. Oh boy. Then there's Sandopolis Zone, which is a lot of people's least favorite zone, and I can agree. The first act is actually not that bad in my opinion. In fact, I actually think it's pretty good. But it's the second act that just fucking kills it. It's very slow, and it's a lot of just pulling and pushing switches to open walls and trying to avoid these ghosts that follow you. Oh, and did I mention it's also extremely long, which means you might get a time over in this act. It's also very repetitive. Then there's Lava Reef Zone, which is a little better than Sandopolis, but it's also a zone I'm not a big fan of. It's pretty hard and also pretty long. Then there's Hidden Palace Zone, which is pretty much just a boss fight with Knuckles. It's not very hard, but it's pretty fun. Then you go to Sky Sanctuary Zone, which is pretty fun. It's all just one big act, and it involves you making your way to the top. Death Egg is the final zone, and unlike Sonic 2, where it's just 2 boss fights, this has 2 big acts and is very difficult. The gimmick in this zone is that the gravity keeps flipping on you. The boss fights in this game are pretty hard. In fact, I think most of them are even harder than Sonic 3. Mushroom Hill is pretty easy, and Flying Battery and Sandopolis aren't too bad. Lava Reef's bosses are pretty difficult, and Hidden Palace Zone's Knuckles boss is really easy, as I said. Sky Sanctuary Zone has Mecha Sonic, which is pretty hard. I don't know if I'd say he's harder than Silver Sonic from Sonic 2, but it's close. Death Egg's mini-boss is super difficult for me. I must have died like 50 times fighting this boss. Act 2's boss isn't too bad, but it took me a while to beat, considering you have to time the hits. But then there's the final boss, which has 2 phases. The first phase isn't too bad. You have to hit all the robot fingers, and then comes the second phase, which is so strict on the timing of the dodging and hitting him that it's one of the hardest bosses in classic Sonic. But folks, it's not done yet, because if you manage to collect all the Chaos Emeralds, you get a secret final zone and boss, the Doomsday Zone. As Super Sonic, you have to get the missiles to hit Robotnik's shell. After this, you have to dash into him, all while maintaining your ring count, as it goes down when you're Super Sonic. So that's Sonic & Knuckles. It's a fairly good game, but I think Sonic 2 and 3 are better. And I also think Sonic 1 is a bit better, even though many would disagree. I'm gonna give Sonic & Knuckles a 7 out of 10. So that was Sonic & Knuckles, the second half of Sonic 3. And yeah, it's a really good game, but it's not really one of my favorite classic Sonic games. In fact, it ranks kind of low for me. In my opinion, I actually think that Sonic 1 is better than Sonic & Knuckles. I mean, yeah, as I said, the overall game that is Sonic & Knuckles, it's good, but there's just not a lot of zones that I, really like. I mean, Flying Battery, Mushroom Hill are fun, but then, it kind of goes downhill after that, in my opinion. But actually, that's not it for this review. No, I didn't forget to talk about this. I was leading into this, but you can actually combine the Sonic 3 cartridge onto the Sonic & Knuckles cartridge as a combination, because that was basically that's what they wanted to do originally, because again, this was supposed to be just Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles was supposed to be just one game. So if you actually look at a picture, I'll put a picture up, but yeah, you can actually, as you can see, the Sonic & Knuckles Genesis cartridge is not a typical Genesis cartridge. You can actually lock on another cartridge on top of it, and by combining Sonic 3 onto Sonic & Knuckles, you get Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So let's take a look at that. Many people say that by combining both games, this is the definitive Sonic experience. You can play as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. So here's where I talk about Knuckles. I wanted to wait on talking about Knuckles' gameplay until I showed off Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because I think if you're gonna play as Knuckles, it has to be the combined version. Why? Well, because Knuckles' playthrough is actually very different than Sonic and Tails. His playthrough takes place after Sonic's. He can glide, climb walls, and he's also very strong, so he takes different pathways and he fights harder bosses. For example, he goes underground in Angel Island Zone, he fights different bosses in Marble Garden Zone, and Carnival Night is actually shortened for him. However, since you're playing as Knuckles, you don't have a Knuckles boss fight in Hidden Palace, so you go through it in like 10 seconds. He also doesn't have Death Egg Zone since it was destroyed in Sonic's playthrough. His final zone is Sky Sanctuary Zone, where his final boss is Mecha Sonic, who actually absorbs the power of the Master Emerald and becomes Super Mecha Sonic. It's ridiculously hard. Also, that's something I forgot to mention. Knuckles' whole job is to guard the Master Emerald because that's what keeps his home of Angel Island floating. So that's Knuckles' playthrough, and I'd actually recommend playing it. Don't just play Sonic's playthrough, because Knuckles is more different than you think. Also, something that is only in this combined version is the Super Emeralds. If you manage to get the Chaos Emeralds before Mushroom Hill Zone, your Chaos Emeralds will be taken away, and you can go for the Super Emeralds. If you manage to get all the Super Emeralds, you get Hyper Sonic, who is way better than Super Sonic. Hyper Sonic is fast and invincible, but also has the abilities of each elemental shield. Knuckles can also get these and turn into Hyper Knuckles, although it's not as great. However, if Tails gets the Super Emeralds, he turns into Super Tails instead of Hyper Tails, because he doesn't actually get anything by getting the regular Chaos Emeralds. Although he does get a bunch of birds around him when he's Super Tails that attack for him, so I guess that makes up for it. You can also lock on Sonic 2 with Sonic and Knuckles, and play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which is awesome. However, if you try to lock in any other Genesis game, you just get a bunch of special stage levels. So yeah, that is the combination of Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And it's overall, the combination, the full experience of Sonic 3 is great. It's absolutely fantastic. And a lot of people consider the combo Sonic 3 and Knuckles to be not only the best classic Sonic game, but the best Sonic game, period. I don't personally agree with that. I think it's really good, but I don't think it beats Sonic 2 for me. Sonic 2 is just great for me. I love Sonic 2. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. My next review will be Sonic Triple Trouble for the Sega Game Gear. And yeah, so look forward to that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.